Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first show of the B Graders for 2018. We're once again here at Sweet Remedy. It's very windy here, so we do apologise about the sound, but I must welcome special guest, newly crowned under-19 National Road Cycling Champion, Tyler Lindorff. Welcome to the B Graders, mate.
Thank you very
Congratulations.
much. Yeah, thank you very much for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, mate. Now, how was it? Like, it's windy here today in the backyard.
Yeah.
Very similar to the conditions in Ballarat.
Yeah, very windy, very hot. The race had to be moved early because it was so hot, but...
Yeah, they cancelled Grand Fondo, so all the old fossils would have been upset about that.
Yeah, they were. Matty Upton was a bit salty, but yeah.
Matty Upton, great ride, Matty Upton. I think he just went over just over 10 laps in the main race of about 16 or 17 now. I've known Matty Upton a good decade, and he's a much better bike rider now than he was 10 years ago, so props to Matty Upton. He is a good mate, and we like to build him up on this show.
Yeah.
Mate, first time the under-19s have been in Ballarat, so you get to race the week of racing, but you get to be there training and racing on the same course as Richie Port and Caleb and all that. How much different is that to the old style under-19s or with the under-17s?
It's so much better. I mean, being in the same location just adds that bit more of importance to your race, having the spectators there. Obviously for the elite race, having them on there for your race, just really motivates you to do well. And then seeing your idols race the next day or next 2 days, it's something special.
And it's a great thing, I think, for you guys as well, the fact that you got people like Matt White, Matt Wilson, Andrew Christie Johnson, all of these, like Andrew Christie Johnson, who's the DS of Bennelong, which is the team that Michael Freiberg rides for, great friend of the shows. Matty Wilson and Matt White, of course, running what is now Mitchelton Scott.
Yep.
Not Orica Green Edge, but the same team. And it gives them a chance to see the under-19s and the under-23s from a very young age, so a big advantage to you guys. I've got to mention one of the rides of the weekend that didn't win a medal, but won 2 jerseys, and that's Reece Tucknott. Under-23s, he went out of the blocks on the first lap and he was away there. Ash Mackay was in the break early with him. But what a great ride there. 5th overall and wins the King of the Mountains in the sprint jersey.
I know, it was a great ride. He was out the front all day, and yeah, it was good to see him get up on the podium with the 2 jerseys. And obviously coming 5th after all that's a pretty amazing effort, so yeah.
Now, Alex Edmondson, one of my favourite bike riders of all time, I got to see this kid race the Tour of Tasmania a few years ago. I saw him away in a breakaway for 100 kilometres on one stage in Tasmania, and Tasmania isn't flat anywhere.
No.
He was away all day. He got caught with about 5 k's to go, their little breakaway he was in, and then he won the bunch kick against the so-called fastest man in Australia. Now, there's been lots of talk about Ballarat for the last 10 or more years, because that's where the course has been held, about they should change the course. It's too hard for the sprinters. It's too this. It's too that.
Yeah.
What's your young thoughts? Let's get a young man's perspective on this, because we've seen guys like Port and Cadell, Port, Gero go to the line together when no one else could keep up. But then we've seen Hausler beat Caleb in a bunch of sprint. And now Edmo goes in a breakaway who's as fast as anybody and wins it. What's your idea?
I think the Ballarat course for Road Nationals is I think it's a diverse course. I think a lot of people can win on that course. I think it's a course that can be ridden many different ways. And I think that's the reason why they keep that course all the time, is because it really showcases a rider who can do everything. Obviously Caleb, being really light, he's only 61 kilos or whatever, can get around that course and still have a decent kick at the finish. But you also have riders like Luke Durbridge, who unfortunately crashed out, but riders like Luke Durbridge who can time trial off the front and do well on that course. So yeah, I think it's a really good course and has been for many years, and I think it should continue to be a course.
I think it's a good course.
Yeah.
Personally, I think we could do with rotating the national championship around Australia, because I think it's healthier for cycling.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But one thing that Caleb made a very good point in his interview the other day, when he got second to Hausler, and the other day when he got 4th, it was a headwind up the hill, both those. When it's a tailwind up the climb, it goes a little bit too quick for the non-sort of roulette style cyclists, so the climbers have a bit of an advantage. The Morton brothers and those guys, they just climb that little bit quicker. So big props to Alex Edmondson, well done. Well done to Shannon Malseed, last year's National Road Series champion in the women's. Made them look like mugs. I'm going to big note myself here. I picked her 2 laps to go that she was going to win it. The girls team, Mitchelton Scott, toss a coin, give us your thoughts of their tactics. We're going to be biased here because we had we had Jess Allen on the show. She's a great friend of mine and Togger's, and she was in the break. I think they should have supported her. I don't think they had the rider to win in the bunch personally, but something to look at, something to have a banter about over coffee. Probably get yelled at by Jess for bagging a team this week when we go to Tour Down Under. But get that, mate. Questions for you.
Yeah, right.
Who are the people that you look up to most in the sport, being a young man in the sport these days?
I'd say, obviously it's one of the elite guys. I mean, we always look up to the best, but there's plenty of, I don't know, under 23s like Sam Welsford and a couple of the HPU riders that I look up to as well, but also Cameron Meyer and, you know, Richie Port, you know, those riders that really, they work really hard, and you know that, you can see that. They work really hard and they get results. I look up to those kind of riders just because I appreciate how hard they work.
And what's on the horizon for you? What's next? Like, are you doing track nationals, or are you just riding the road now? What are you doing?
Yeah, all road this year. So Oceanas and Mersey Valley Tour are the two next selection events.
Where's Oceans this year?
Tasmania. They're all both.
Everything's in Tassie.
Yes, they are both in Tasmania. Yeah.
Yep.
So very hilly. My type of racing. Aggressive, uphill. So yeah, it should be good. The end goal is obviously Junior Worlds at the end. So I've got 2 more selection races to impress in, and then hopefully big man AJ can get me rolling on some good forms.
Big ups to AJ, Coach AJ, Andrew Jackson, who's looks after the Cycle Talk coaching business. It's great to have him here today, and he looks after Tyler and a number of other people. Good on you, AJ. Question for you, might be a bit too deep to ask you, mate, but there's rumours. You know, we've seen it already happen with the Australian elite track team, that they're only taking 4 bike riders to the Worlds. That means the TP guys don't get to defend the individual pursuiter. Jordan Kirby doesn't get to defend. The girls don't get to ride. They're taking Cam and Scottson, great. They're taking Glaitzer, great. They're taking Steph Morton, great. There's rumours out there that they're going to pull the money back in juniors and then under 23s and sort of. How does that make you feel? Does it make you feel nervous, or are you just going to get on with it?
Well, I guess in most aspects, rumours are rumours. But I mean, I think pulling the money back on the juniors would be a mistake, because the future of cycling is in the juniors. I think the juniors need to have experience. They need to have experience to be able to grow and compete eventually in an elite level. You don't just want juniors to come through and have been thrown into a world field or anything like that and not know how to cope with it. So I think the junior funding is important for that reason, but also the elite funding needs to be there for our current athletes. So it's a bit of a sticky situation, but
good answer. Good answer. And mate, you're riding with Wace.
Yeah.
Now I was lucky enough to be in Wace back in 1987.
Yeah, right.
First male cyclist into Wace, and the first female cyclist was a champion by the name of Jackie Utine, and back in those days, I think we got given $1,000 each as a first time in.
Yeah.
But with your $1,000, you had to spend $500 on a sport tester, which was a polar heart rate monitor. So you got $500. How has that changed? I'd be interested to know what's changed.
A lot has changed since then, mate. So we usually get, I think it's about a $20,000 scholarship now. Not cash, mate, not cash, but if you're including the gym and the heat chambers, and you've got sports psychs, nutritionists, physiotherapists, you've got access to all those guys. Martin Binney, our sports scientist, he does a lot with us with heat room and skin folds and weight and all that stuff. I think it's a lot more scientific now than it used to be.
In what way? Like, because when I used to go and do 100k and 70k and have a Coke and a Mars bar. So you do the same, yeah?
Yeah, if it's hot, mate. If it's really hot, I'll have a Coke and a Mars bar. But otherwise,
when was the last time you had a Mars bar?
Oh, it's got a top 40 degrees. But,
never.
Yeah.
Never.
No, it's a lot more scientific now. But I think the funding for Wace has improved, which is good.
Sounds like it.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Definitely.
Sounds like the facility. No, I'm being a smart ass, because we got looked after very well by the likes of Steve Lawrence, who was the sports physiologist back in those days. Of course, he's the top man there nowadays, and he was absolutely gold at his job, and we got looked after very well with the gymnasium back in those days. Didn't have heat rooms. They didn't know about heat rooms.
Yeah.
We knew a little bit about we knew a little bit about power wattage, but we didn't have it sitting on our handlebars.
Yeah.
But it was all heart rate back in those days.
Yeah.
So it was all good.
So Matt, there's a couple of questions I want to ask you now, mate.
Oh, you're going to do the interview now.
I'm going to do the interview.
Oh,
now,
okay, here we
yeah.
go. This should be interesting.
Yeah. So first question is, how has cycling changed in general from when you were racing to being a commentator now?
From when I was racing, well, I'll put it back to when I was your age, because I was lucky, as I said before, I was lucky enough to be in Waste, and I came through things like South Australian Sports Institute and also Queensland Academy of Sport. Yes, I moved around a bit. I think there's, as far as the institute programs change, I think the idea nowadays is there's more of a softly approach to the squads, as where there was a thing called the Charlie Walsh era. And the Charlie Walsh era was very much an era of, we're going to take all the eggs, we're going to throw them against the barn door, and the ones that don't crack, that's what we're going to keep.
Right.
As where I think the likes of the guys that you'll be dealing with in the future, guys like your Tim Deckers and so forth, they're not too far away from that idea, because you do have to have a certain character about you and a certain hardness about you to make it in this game. But I don't think it's a question of we broke you the first session we saw you, or the first camp we saw you, and so therefore we're going to wash our hands of you. Where I think that did go on a lot back in the day. So I think there's a lot more support behind the scenes. One of the biggest changes on that side of things is coaching, is it seems everyone's a coach now.
Yeah.
You know, there is actually
an
industry now. Like in Western Australia, about 10 years ago, people like Gary Suckling, Matt Illingworth, myself, and Brad Hall all started our little coaching businesses, and some have gone up into just coaching businesses. I fragmented off into the commentary world and doing things like that. But now we've got AJ, and you've got a number of other people in WA who are actually making careers of being coaches and doing a very, very good job. And I think every state seems to be going that way. So I think what's happening now from that side of things is you don't necessarily need to be in the institute program to get the same sort of coaching support.
Right,
you're getting it right now with AJ. He's been in the institute system. He's still our state coach, but he doesn't punch a clock at Waste anymore, and he's been very successful with it. And as far as how has the racing changed, power meters have changed racing. Well, 100%. Biggest change. We all had heart rate meters when I was your age, when you were about a heart rate. But time trialing on power meters has changed the game. Knowing when to make your efforts. I hate earphones. In bike races, I absolutely detest them. I think it ruins the beauty and the romance of bike racing. As far as it domestically, you guys have nowhere near the week in, week out racing that I had when we were growing up. Like, I can go to West Coast Masters and race pretty much every single weekend, and it's run by the guys who ran the sport back when I was your age, and they miss Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter, Christmas. That's about all they missed. That's how it used to be in Perth. Because the clubs would put on a race every week. I'm not saying they're doing it wrong now. The world has changed. It's so much harder to get this, that, and the other. But they're the biggest changes that I see. Power meters have changed the game, no doubt about it.
I guess the club racing and that has decreased a little bit.
Well, you're lucky. You're in Peel. Now, I'll probably get shot down for this. Peel Cycling Club is the best cycling club in WA.
They do great effort at making races.
Like I'm in Rouchard Cycling Club. I run bike races with Dan O'Donoghue myself. We've got midweek mayhem this week. Tonight actually, and Dan does a great job. But Peel is, I think, the last club out there that's really doing the week in, week out club racing, and you're very lucky to be a part of that club,
definitely,
mate. No doubt about it.
So why did you leave cycling, or as an athlete, to become a commentator?
To become a commentator, I never really left cycling. I was one of those guys that got to about the age of 24. And got a girlfriend and got a proper girlfriend and hung it up for 6 months, and then realised didn't need a proper girlfriend and picked it up. So I had more comebacks. Don't follow my path. Any young kid out there, I picked it up for 6 months, put it down for 6 months, and I did that for a number of years. And that's the way it is. But I've never been able to get rid of the virus that is cycling. I love cycling, whether
Yeah.
I'm riding a bike or watching a bike or talking about bike race. As far as commentary goes, it's a real simple one. Murray Hall, I called one scratch race one night at the track, and Murray Hall asked me to commentate one of those Chevron Grand Prix before your time in the sport, and had 4,000 people in the joint, and that was my first job. So I got the bug for it, and been very lucky to have met some great people. Matt Keenan got me a very good job early on. Rick Fulcher, I did the Worlds with him in 2012 and did the Worlds last year in Hong Kong, and I've worked with some great guys. Ian Maher in Victoria, Pat Shaw just the other day, Damo Harris doing nationals in Queensland this year with him, and I like the commentary. No two ways about it. Got to do, and the beautiful thing about commentary is, as a fanboy that I am of you guys racing and everyone who races, is I get the best seat in the house. I don't have to get hot and sweaty or go training, and I get to call the best bike riders in Australia. I got to do the 120th Austral the other day, and I was in Sydney the other day for 5 days at the Sydney Track Carnivals, and walked into just little things like I got to walk into Hurstville Oval, which is without doubt the most beautiful track I've seen anywhere in the world. It is magnificent. That's the St George Cycling Club and Cricket Club, run by Phil Bates, who used to run the Commonwealth Bank Cycle Classic, and people like Brett Dutton helping him out there, the former Olympian. And Carly McCulloch was there racing at a local club racing, and it's just, I love it. I love cycling. There's no two ways about it. Whether I agree with who's in power in the official side of things or not, I'm here until the day I die, and that's, I think, I hope there's a few more people like me who are here until the day we die. But yeah, Murray Hall is the reason everyone's ears bleed, because I'm talking.
Yeah, right.
So mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely stoked that you've carried on the legacy of under-19 West Australians winning the national road title. I can remember Keith Davis winning the national road title back in 1983.
I'll pretend to know who
something
that
like
is.
that. You can pretend to know who that is. Look him up. A good Collie Cycling Club boy. I had the joy of helping Emily McRedmond win the national junior road title a few years ago. That was an absolute joy. This week though, Tour Down Under. Are you going over to see it?
I'm not.
No?
Unfortunately,
Mum and Dad. Couldn't send him on holiday?
No, I've already been over there, but Tour Down Under should be good.
Should be good. Sagan's going to be there. Caleb's there. Greipel's come back this year. I'm not sure if is it Gaviria or Viviani who's riding. I can't remember. One of those two is riding. See, I do my homework every week. Tour Down Under, I'll be there. Toggles will be there, so there'll be no show next week, but Toggles and I will be doing a bit of stuff to camera and trying to talk to Sam Welsford, who's riding for the Uni SA team. Well done to Sam Welsford. We want to say a big shout out to Luke Durbridge. Not great photos of Luke on Instagram with the neck brace on at the moment, but he's always got that Luke Durbridge smile, so he'll bounce back. Tonight is midweek mayhem. If you're watching this right now, it means you haven't ridden midweek mayhem, and so take a long hard look at yourself. All right, I'm Matt Pointer. This is Tyler Lindorff. Thanks very much for watching.
Thank you very much.